Mayor, how do you react to the talk that you might go to jail? That part of this.
Well, you've heard that we believe that we're acting lawfully. So I have a lot of things to do here in the District of Columbia. Me being in jail wouldn't be a good thing.
Joining us now is the person at the center of this issue right now, the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. Mayor Bowser, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
No, thank you, Rachel. It's really my pleasure to be here.
I have to ask, clearly you are not in jail right now.
No.
We checked to see if we were going to have to bail you out in order to have you on TV. I imagine that there's a lot of tension between D.C. City government and Congress because they have this vestigial constitutional role in sort of stopping D.C. from doing things it wants to do. Did you expect that it would come to the point where they'd be threatening to jail you?
Well, this is an issue, Rachel, where some people feel very strongly at the Congress, and they are speaking loudly. But our residents also spoke loud and clear last November when 7 out of 10 of them went to the polls to vote to approve the legalization of small amounts of marijuana in Washington, D.C. for use by adults in their homes. And I'm the mayor of the District of Columbia. I was elected, and my job is to implement the people's law. The people changed the law, and it's my job to implement it.
If members of Congress that are so excited and head up about this issue and are being so confrontational about this issue, if they decide that, okay, they're not going to put you in jail, but they do otherwise want to do everything possible to try to stop the city and to try to stop you from going ahead with this, what other options do they have? What else is at risk for you and for D.C. in terms of what Congress controls?
Well, the Congress can act in a lot of ways. They have, and if your viewers don't know this, they have jurisdiction over the District of Columbia in many ways. We send our budget to the Congress, our laws lay over at the Congress, and the Congress well knows how to stop things when they want to stop things. And they've done it in the past. They've attacked our ability to support women's reproductive health issues. They've attacked our ability to provide clean needle exchange in the District of Columbia, and even medical marijuana. The answer for us, of course, is statehood, so that Americans that live and pay taxes in the District of Columbia can have a voting member of Congress. Our Eleanor Holmes Norton would have a vote, and we would have 2 senators. So that the members, and we've been especially antagonized by Representative Andy Harris, who represents the 1st District in Maryland. He could spend his time antagonizing the district, and they've threatened to harass us and to attack our funds that are due us by the federal government, just like any other state. But I know the people in the 1st District of Maryland would much rather have his attention on their issues.
On the substance of this change in the marijuana laws and the enforcement priorities in the district, how did day one go? And what do you think the biggest challenges are going to be for D.C. in terms of this moving forward? It is a little bit of a complicated array of things that people are going to have to understand in terms of what changes.
Yes, and it was complicated by Andy Harris. Now, the voters of the District of Columbia were very clear in what they wanted to approve: home use, home growth by adults. But I think it was also the expectation that the Council of the District of Columbia would be able to pass reasonable regulations to regulate the sale of marijuana, and so that we wouldn't have this confusing state. But currently, I want to be very clear that residents and the will of the voters is being realized because Initiative 71 is enforced in the District of Columbia.
Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, I know this is an incredibly difficult and pressure-laden time for you. Thank you so much for walking us through what you're going through. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, good luck. I love D.C. All right. Lots more in tonight's show as we get one day closer to what may be the shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Congress has started to get a little loopy. Videotaped evidence of their true blue bipartisan loopiness is coming up. Plus, we've got some fancy car explosions for you. Please stay with us.